down to the records department and they can probably help you.
Well, I thought I saw them in there.
Here we are.
So they built a library on the right. No, he's saying stop your children in prison.
Hi.
Could you give us a tour of the library?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Let me see what you would like to see first. Let me tell you a little bit about the library, or about the local history department here. It's unusual, we're unusual for a public library in that we do have such a large local history research collection. Everything in this room and in our whole department can only be used in this department. It can't be taken out of the library. It is funded to some extent by a fund called the Foster Fund, which was money left by a lady called Carolyn Foster, who died when she was over 100, and she left funds for various philanthropic causes, one of which was this department. What we have out in this room are basically our ready reference collection and things that people, we feel people will be using most of the time. Because of space constraints and also security, most of our collection is on closed access. But we do have certain materials out here that we're able to monitor, and it does save us from bringing them in and out all the time. So on the wall to my left, you would see the Historical Society publications. The major one that is used constantly is the Genealogical Magazine of New Jersey, with its indexes, and that's a useful source for things like militia lists and cemetery inscriptions and marriages, church records, things like that. Next to that is the map cabinet, where we have a fairly extensive map collection, and again some of this is down in our vault downstairs for space reasons. We just don't have room to keep everything up here. But we do have our Morris County maps here and our New Jersey maps, and most of the maps that are used most frequently. Down here we have the New Jersey archives, which are probably most used for abstracts of wills. Abstracts of wills up till 1817 can be consulted. We also have the New England Historical and Genealogical Register, the New York Genealogical and Biographical Record, and the American Genealogical Biographical Index. And of these, certainly the most frequently used are the New Jersey Archives and the New Jersey Genealogical Magazine. If we continue this way, quite a considerable amount of our collection is on microfilm. In this cabinet we have part of a collection of New York City directories from 1861 to 1902. We have our New Jersey ratables on microfilm. We have a Morristown manuscript collection, which is, there are some manuscripts from the Historical Park, from the Morristown Historical Park. There are also some church records, records of craftsman farms in Parsippany, different organizations, the fire company, the old Mount Kemble home, the hospital, some meetings, minutes of the planning board, all kinds of things like that. And we also have down here what is our latest acquisition, and it's a collection of naturalization records for the Eastern Court of New York, covering a period from, I believe, 1865 right up to 1957. And we're one of the few libraries that has that, so we're very pleased to have it. We think it'll be very useful. Which is not an indication of the whole of our collection. It was at one time, but some of the microfiche, for example, that we get now are not indicated in the card catalogue. For those, you would need to use the computer. But basically, most of our collection is reflected in the card catalogue. Here we have an author title catalogue, a subject catalogue around the other side, and a separate map catalogue. Now, over this bank of shelves and the one around the other side is our ready reference material, the most frequently used material. We have New Jersey tax lists, we have directories of research libraries, archives, sources that people might want to consult. And on this shelf here, we have various indexes which have been done by the library to the old 19th century newspapers that we possess on microfilm. There are general indexes, there are marriage and death indexes, and we've just started a new project this year. We are continuing our indexing, but it's being done on the computer. We will have printouts, but the indexing itself is being done by computer so that we can do online searches if people are searching for something specific. Over here are some of the books that the library publishes. We have published the history of Morristown, and just this last year we published a history of the black community in Morristown, which grew out of a series of oral histories that were done in this department. Now around the
Thanks a lot.
On this side of the shelf are generally census indexes to old New Jersey and lots of different states around here. We don't have too much on the southern states, but otherwise we have pretty good coverage. And they are used by people all the time, particularly as we have the whole of the New Jersey federal and state censuses on microfilm. They're here in the blue cabinets. And they are probably the most used part of our collection. We also have some city directories down here on microfilm. But these are definitely what people will come to us for, the indexes and the census itself. This is another popular item, the passenger and immigration lists index. And that's generally a starting point for people who come in and they want to trace their ancestors and how they came over to this country. This is our reading room itself. At the moment it's quiet. It does get a lot of use by people from all over the country. We have a lot of local people who are in on a regular basis. The members of our local genealogy club, which meets at the library once a month, and a lot of them are professional genealogists and they use the library to do their research. A number of people come in because they're either tracing their ancestry for their own general purposes, or they're tracing it for membership in something like the DAR or the Mayflower Society. And most people will find that they can do a good part of their research in this department.
Yeah, I heard that a lady came in and did 97% of her Mayflower Society work here in this library?
That's probably true. I wouldn't know specifically, but certainly for someone whose ancestors had lived around this area, I would assume it would be possible to find out most of the information from us from either our original sources or from some of the publications that we have in this department. In fact, over on this wall here, we do have all the DAR lineage books, and we have a lot of Mayflower information and information about very early immigrants, and then series that deal with later immigration to this country, the Germans to America is a good example. This is a multi-volume work that we have right from when it was first published, and it's an ongoing publication. There is now also a similar one called Italians to America that we're subscribing to as well. And then all of the rest of this material is over here are general books on genealogy and how to go about tracing your ancestors both in this country and in other countries. These books are the passenger lists and the different passenger lists, and also some military records. This is another recent acquisition, genealogical abstracts of Revolutionary War pension files, and this is very helpful. And then we go on to historical information for some of the states around New Jersey. This happens to be Massachusetts. All of this material is Massachusetts. And then we go on to New York. All of this is New York. And around here, we're also New York and then Connecticut. And after that, we ran out of space, and so the rest of our collection has to be on closed access.
You have closed access, but you allow the books to come out, and only in this room, right?
We allow the books to come out. The procedure is that people come into the department, they have to sign in at the desk, partly for security, because some of our books are very valuable, and partly because we keep the statistics to see how many people are using the department and where they come from, and that kind of information. So when people come in and they use either the card catalog or the computer or our resources to find out what they want, and we have them fill in a call slip, put down the call number, the author and the title, and then we bring out the books for them, but they may only be used in this department. We do allow them to photocopy if the book isn't too old and too fragile.
Actually, when you say this department, you mean also this room only?
I mean this, yes.
Right.
This department starts at the door there and encompasses this room and all of the area in the back. But basically, yes, it is just this room is the reading room.
And what do we have behind you?
Behind, we have our issues of the Jerseyman newspaper, which goes back to the 1860s, so that is an extremely valuable resource, particularly as we have the indexes. That covers these early cabinets, and then we go into the Daily Record, which is the current newspaper, and we have that on microfilm right up to the present. But because we have coverage here right from 1860, we do also have a few runs of newspapers that we just have a few issues of, maybe a couple of years. Most of these newspapers we also have in bound hard copy, but they are extremely fragile. They're very large, they're this size, they're bound, and of course we don't like people to handle them too much, which is why we have everything on microfilm.
I notice that you have 4 machines that actually the machines are both for fish and for microfilm.
The 2 readers on this side can be converted there. They can be converted very easily. They are either film or fish readers.
And printers.
And printers as well. All of our machines will make copies also. The 2 machines behind you here, the one on the left is just a microfilm reader. It's one of our older machines. The nice thing about it is it does have a zoom lens, and so you can zoom up and down for the size. The one on the right-hand side is just a fish reader. Now,
And 2 computers, and how does that work?
The computer on the desk in the middle here is a central computer for the whole of the Morris County Library system. So it gives information to our patrons as to which books are in this library, including this department, and which books are in the Morris County system and their locations. And anything that isn't in this library can be obtained for patrons from one of the other libraries in the county system.
And then you have a copy machine that is automatic. You put 10 cents in and you get your own copy, right?
Yes, it's a coin-operated
Coin-operated.
machine. This one is used primarily by patrons in this department because we won't allow things to be taken outside the department even for copying. So if anyone wants to copy anything from this department, they really have to use that machine.
Well, thank you very much for this. This was an excellent tour.
You're welcome. I'm glad
And,
to take you around.
I'm going to do one more thing. I hope to get over to see Mr. Chambers today and the
Oh, good.
Evergreen and do a little bit of videoing over there. But we want to thank you for all your help and all the
You're
ladies,
welcome.
how wonderful they are. Your Genealogy Society, could you tell us a little something about that?
The Genealogy Society is called the Morris Area Genealogy Society, and they meet in the library. They have a very special connection with the library, and a lot of their members will volunteer in the library. And they meet during the year from September to May. They hold monthly meetings on a Tuesday evening, and they will have different speakers. And they meet downstairs in our meeting room, and then every so often they will also have a particular program that they might sponsor jointly with the library. They do put out a magazine every month, which is very popular and is very well done. And they do answer questions. People can submit questions about people they're trying to find or ancestors they're trying to trace. Subscription, I believe, is $15 a year. We do have an application form available, so if anyone's interested in joining, I can certainly give you a copy of the application form.
Very good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Right. Go into the staff room now.
Right, if you would like to. Just so you can get some idea of the way we store our material. This is our closed stack area. We do use compact shelving because we don't have a whole lot of space back here, and this does enable us to store a lot of material in a fairly small space. The only real drawback with it, well, obviously there are certain restrictions on weight because it is very heavy. There is so much material in a small space. But basically it works very well. The main problem is usually if you come out here to get books for a lot of patrons, then there may be several people trying to get books out of different areas, and of course you can't do that. You can only work in one section at a time. What we have here though is all of the rest of our collection. Down at the end here, we use a special classification system that was developed for local history departments. The beginning part of it is just the Dewey classification system, and the books at this end are all the family genealogies. And then this section is just straightforward Dewey. It's a continuation of our state histories and military records and all of the New Jersey legislative material that we carry. And then we go into this special local history classification. The books in here are specifically New Jersey history, just any kind of guides that deal with New Jersey as a state in general. And then we go into the specific counties in New Jersey. So H3 Essex, for example, is Essex County, Monmouth County, Ocean County. All of the counties except for Morris County, which we specialize in, of course, are in alphabetical order. And then we have a special section down here which concentrates on Morris County. And once we get down here, then the material is basically organized by town, by community. And they are also in alphabetical order. And they may be anything from organization records to church records to high school yearbooks. These are some of the Morris County Heritage Commission papers. We have records from the Morristown Historical Park, tombstone inscriptions, all kinds of things like that. And as we move down, the end part of our collection is our Nast collection. We have a large collection of the works of Thomas Nast, who lived in Morristown. and was a very famous cartoonist responsible for, well, amongst other things, the symbols of the Republican and the Democrat Party, and also Santa Claus. He is responsible for the vision of Santa Claus as we know him. And we do have a large collection of writings by and about him. Also, McCullough Hall, which is also in Morristown, has most of his art collection, and then we have the published works about him. And then our periodicals are down at the end here. The envelopes, or the boxes here, contain our photograph collection. We do have a fairly extensive photograph collection. They're arranged by subject. This is only part of our collection. We also have a large collection down in the basement called the Curtis Collection, which consists of something like 6,000 photographs. We do have a computer index to that, so if someone comes up with a particular name and they want to know if we have a photograph, we can usually find that for them. And we get calls from all kinds of people who either want to use our photographs for books, or they may want to use them for research. We've just had a call from the Presbyterian Church. It's the centennial of the building of their sanctuary, and they wanted to borrow a photograph that we had that showed the sanctuary when it was originally being built 100 years ago. We have another copy of the staff piece here, and the computer system. And then the other thing we have back here that's interesting, we call this Fred. This is our vertical file holder. We do maintain quite a large collection of vertical files on families that have been prominent in the Morris County area, and on subjects in Morris County, Morristown, and New Jersey in general. They may be subjects as general as crime or colleges and universities, or they may be as specific as garbage in Morristown or urban renewal in Morristown. And these are contained in the cabinets here. And we access them by putting in the tray number and then just running the system. And again, it does mean that we can keep a lot of information in a very small amount of space. And that's what all of the folders are here. We did find, even with this system, that we were running out of space, so we have started a project to microfilm, or put on microfiche this material. I'll show you that. These are the microfiches that have been made from the folders, just so that we are not constantly adding and running out of space. And then we do have some other things. We have some other microfiche in here and some microfilm. We have the Newark Evening News on microfilm. We have some series of vital records, and we have some city directories back here as well. This is invaluable. We just hope it never breaks down. So I think I've showed you most of the collection. We also have a preservation lab downstairs. We have a conservator who comes from the New Jersey Historical Society, and she works for us several days a year, mainly repairing books and encapsulating maps and things like that. We also have a climate control vault downstairs, and we keep all of our manuscript collections down there, and some of our more valuable items, some of the artwork, some of the more valuable maps are kept down in our vault. So we're scattered around different parts of the library, but this is the core of the collection.
Actually, he represents the second floor, approximately 1/3 of the second floor, but that would also include the special section on the other side for autobiographies. Biographies and autobiographies, is that correct?
Biographies and and the history, general history, are also in this section of the library. This is a new wing that was added in 1987, and it consisted of local history and then the section further down that does have the historical information. And underneath, on the first floor, is a children's department and a periodicals department, and that was all added in 1987.
Oh, very good. Well, thank you for allowing us back
Well,
into your
you're
secret
welcome.
chamber.
Glad
You know,
to show it to you.
You people run back here, we wonder what's going on
That's
back
right,
here.
where we're going. Now you know.
Very nice. We really appreciate it. Thank you
Oh,
very,
you're
very
welcome.
much.
I'm glad to do it.
Hey, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.